Hello, it's Rhea. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you are enjoying yourself. So you might have been able to tell by the title and the intro that today I will be working in my sketchbook, specifically on a magical girl themed spread. To make things easier on myself, and also because I wanted to highlight more of the use of the alcohol markers and other stuff, I went ahead and pre-sketched the spread, so here's what the drawings look like before I color them. And then also here is a little swatch sheet specifically on the same sketchbook paper of all the alcohol markers that I have, specifically in skin tones. And you'll see that that page featured Copic, Sanjoki, and Ohuhu, because those are the main ones that I have actual sets of. But the ABT Pro that I'm using right now, I actually don't have in a set, and I also didn't swatch that one already. But I just kind of knew, because I'm pretty sure I've used it before on the sketchbook paper, and it more or less looked how I expected it to look. In case you're curious, I sketched the sketch page with, first with graphite, and then I erased it a little bit, and then I went in with a Prismacolor color erase in brown. To be honest, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to sketch before I color in drawings with marker, because there's several different ways to approach it. I know I could do line art, but I'm kind of enjoying the process of like simply having a sketch first and then going over it with the color and then going over it with a line art if I want to. To be honest, I'm kind of antsy to talk about like, I guess, my process and all of that, because I have another video that's gonna be even longer than this one, and it's gonna be of me doing like an actual illustration with alcohol markers. So that one might be even better if you're really curious about like all of the thoughts and planning and different steps that I take whenever using alcohol markers to create a drawing. But yeah, so that'll come out, and that's why I'm also kind of like, how much should I say in this video in terms of like talking solely about process, because there's many other things that I could talk about, but I'm also kind of like, with this being 40-ish minutes, I'm also thinking of leaving like a space. I think I did that in one of my previous videos too, like where, because like these end up being so much longer than I want them to be. It's not like I planned to have it that way, it's just like, I don't know, stuff just happened. And I'm like, I either need to like speed this up more or like, I don't know what's going on, dude. But yeah, because I don't think I can talk for that much. You guys can probably already tell that my voice is like not in the best condition. There's, oh gosh, there's like a lot kind of going on. Not necessarily in a bad way, it's just, recently I've met with a lot of my relatives, and then my voice went out because of that, because I don't normally talk often. I want to say in like a regular day for me, I probably say about like, ooh, I want to guess 1,000 words. Like, I don't talk to people often. Even living in a house with my family, there's not a lot of words that I feel the need to say in a day. So whenever it comes to like voiceovers or situations where in real life when I'm talking to people, if it's for long periods of time, like it destroys my throat. I'm like immediately rushing to get like cough drops or like drink tea or something with honey, because I just can't, like it's just not, I'm not made for it. So yeah, my voice is probably still recovering from seeing my relatives this past weekend, and then on top of that, it's like raining outside. Like there's been like a severe thunderstorm warning since I woke up, so that's a fun way to wake up. You just keep seeing like a bunch of wind and rain blast your window, and you have to hope for like a good 5 minutes that nothing's gonna just like bust through your window and like destroy you or your very expensive computer desktop setup. So yeah, it's raining, my voice is slowly recovering, but I also, it doesn't help that it's still the morning, so I think the first words that I said were literally the intro, and I was like, I need to re-record this entire part because like I just sounded too dead. If I wanted to be a professional with my voiceovers, I would be doing my vocal warm-ups, which I did generally used to do, but I don't know, right now I don't really feel like doing that. It's the morning. I don't want anyone to hear me making these weird throat noises. So we're just gonna, hopefully you don't mind too much, basically. And the reason why I mentioned the rain as well is because I don't know if it's gonna pick up like the occasional splat on my window of the raindrops falling. It's so funny how like I swear it only rains whenever it's inconvenient for me. Like, I'm not trying to get off subject, by the way, I'm sorry. We will talk about like the drawing and the spread and stuff because I have a lot to talk about with magical girls and I just think it's really cute, but I need to get this off my chest. Otherwise it's gonna be really hard for me to like, I don't know, focus and speak. I'm probably in like the most delusional state I could be right now. Like my brain is just, y'all, I'm gonna try my best, okay? So sorry if you're new here and you're just like, what the heck is going on? I don't know either, but I do know that, again, it only rains whenever it's inconvenient for me. It can never rain whenever it's like, I wake up and just want to have like a soft, slow day and draw and silence. You know, if it does rain on a day like that, it rains for like, what, maybe 30 minutes? It's always whenever I have like a busy and bustling day that it just decides to rain as hard as possible for as long as possible. And so I'm just sitting here like, wow, that's crazy. That's really something. Let me like actually talk a little bit more about the spread and stuff before I start to just like 100% tangent and then we're all just here confused. So yes, magical girl spread. The reason why I am doing that is because usually in May people do mermaid, and I think that's cute and all, but I'm not like a huge mermaid aquatic person. But one year I was like, you know what sounds cute? Magical girls, because that starts with an M, so it's still an alliteration and it's something that I really like. So that's kind of how I came to drawing like more magical girl content in May. At least I always wanted to. These days, like, it doesn't really happen because I always end up too busy, and alas, here I am doing this video at the very end of May. That's why honestly you kind of just have to say like time isn't real, or it just doesn't matter, and you should just go ahead and like draw what you want anyways, or post the content that you want, because like no matter what, I don't know, there's becomes like a certain period of time where things are just completely out of your control and things just go way too fast. So I feel like it's not fair to deprive yourself of the things that you want to enjoy just because you feel like it's not in time, you know, or like on trend. There's too many good ideas and fun projects to do for us to be like, oh, we have a time limit, and if it goes out of it, that's it. Can't release it, can't do anything with it. This doesn't make any sense. So yes, I drew a spread of magical girls, or just kind of like their aesthetic. I don't know. The thing is I don't really have a full idea as to what everyone else considers to be like magical girl aesthetic. Also, the term magical girl feels really difficult for me to say right now. I don't know if like in general actually the word is just like, because there's the two G's, I might just say Maho Shoujo for the rest of the video. But yeah, like the aesthetic is kind of, I don't know, off the top of my head, I just think of like hearts, sparkles, stars, cute outfits, ribbons, bows, that kind of thing. And so that's more or less what I went with. That being said though, even though I did do a spread of like femme representing characters, I do consider the term Maho Shoujo to be gender neutral. I always say that, I just feel like it makes sense. It's more about like, I guess, your personality qualities rather than like appearance. And you also see this in the actual genre itself. There's been many different like spin-offs and stuff, so I think that's a really fun aspect about it too. Oh my gosh, y'all, this weather, like my lights just like flickered, and once my PC turns off I have to reset it all over again. So I'm just like slowly seeing my computer like fade in and out, and I'm like, okay, should I just like, I've already restarted once, so if this happens again, this video might not come out whenever I want it to because I will literally give up and just call it a day. Okay, I didn't give up, but I did take a little intermission so that way the weather could like actually chill out and I can get some other stuff done. This type of spread is something that I do pretty often where it's like almost like a collage of different things going on in one, and I feel like more and more, I don't know if this is just because like I now have a design background too or what, but I think a lot about like the composition and how to fit everything on the page. Sometimes I try not to think about it too hard, but it does kind of get the best of me at moments. And I don't really know how well I did on this one in terms of composition, because I want something like dynamic too. I don't want just like a whole 3 lines of like left facing bust up portraits. You know, I want to spice it up every now and then, so that's why I have like, you know, this character that I'm currently coloring doing like a little pose, the one in the middle is doing a pose as well. That's another thing, like I want to draw characters more dynamically instead of just sitting there looking. I also want to play with drawing more expressions because it really like adds a sense of life to characters, and because that's like the primary thing that I like to draw, I feel like it would be good for, you know, them to just be a little bit more lively. Like the drawing that I started to color just now, you know, she has a cute little expression, a little like tongue out. I think that's adorable. It's not anything like crazy, but you can feel a sense of personality as opposed to like someone just sitting there staring at you. Although to be fair, I thought about it and I was like, well, whenever I take selfies, which is a really rare type of thing for me, I don't usually like smile in my photos. I kind of just like give this ominous stare, and I don't know what, like every now and then you might see me do like a little silly smile and like the peace sign, but like usually I'm just staring into the camera's soul, into the audience, and I don't know, so I guess that kind of rubs off on my OCs. I guess because I think it's like, you know, there's like beauty in whenever someone's just staring maybe, as opposed to like an actual emotion. It gives like this intimidating feel. Or maybe I'm just trying to justify the idea of all of my OCs having an RBF, because I do. No, hopefully I can continue to draw some more expressions and really like branch out, like not just always happy, but like, you know, excited or scared or angry. I think that would be a really nice step into strengthening my character design. Speaking of, all these characters, except for the one that I'm currently coloring, were kind of made up on the spot. And I guess technically the one that I'm coloring is one that I made up on the spot, except she looks very similar to an OC that I already have. And so I was like, that can just be her, because I think I realized it like halfway into me drawing her, and I was like, wait a second, she looks familiar. So yeah, my own OC did a cameo against me and I was like, okay, I got you. Let me color you in and make you all like cute. So yes, that's the only character that I feel like I can say is an actual OC that I thought of and drew. The others are just me winging it on the spot, and that's the thing about traditional art. You don't really have a safety blanket on trying out different looks, so if you want different colors, you kind of just have to either draw the same thing over and over again or just pick one and stick with one. And so obviously on this spread I do the latter because it's just a little sketchbook spread, so I'm not going crazy, but I do kind of find it like a fun challenge to pick colors on the spot and hope that they work well together, because the main character in the middle here with like the mint hair, I wasn't really sure how that would turn out. I was kind of just like, you know, turquoise and like peach, that might be nice. I just said turquoise wrong, didn't I? It's turquoise. For some reason I always get that mixed up. But yeah, I was just kind of playing around with the general idea of what I wanted the colors to look like, and I figured, yeah, mint would be cute, because normally when you think of like a magical girl, you see them with like the same pink hair or red hair or blonde hair, so I thought a cool color would be nice as for like the middle character. But even like putting the outfit together too, that's the thing. So for that pose, I kind of used Pinterest references. Like, I did use a reference, but oftentimes whenever I use a reference, if I'm not fully like succumbing to the fact that I'm doing studies, I try to switch it up a little bit and like change the way that the pose looks or something about it, or I'll just use it like literally as how a reference is used, where it's like you use it to reference a pose that you kind of want. Like it serves as like a little blueprint and then you change certain aspects of it. So because normally I think the girl in the middle, she was like facing towards you in the photo that I was referencing, as opposed to like it sort of being like her looking back with her body turned away from you. So yeah, it was kind of fun to like, I don't know, use reference photos but then also put my own spin on them. It really brings out your like natural creativity, and that's what I had to do for like the outfits as well. So it's like, you know, after I create the initial pose, it's a matter of me figuring out what this character is gonna wear, what color is it gonna be, and all of that. But I think I did a pretty cute job, considering that like I was too lazy to look into like, oh, magical girl aesthetic. I just went off at the top of my head and I was like, you know what, it's not like this is anything like super new for me to be drawing, so we're just gonna go with like what my heart compels. And this is what we ended up with. So I feel like a lot of my go-tos on terms of markers on this spread were either these ABT Pro markers or the ohuhu markers, and that's mostly because both of them I have like a nice enough range on terms of like numbers. For the ohuhu set, I believe that's the pastel one, which is like 48 markers, and then the ABTs I want to say is more about like maybe 30 markers that I've collected over the time. I still have much more to grow with the ABTs, but again, something about like their slenderness, their nib, I just really like using them, whereas both of these markers I can just kind of sit comfortably on my desk without having to worry about like, oh, I have all these markers that I've taken out and I have to put them back. You also don't need a ton of markers whenever you're first starting out with alcohol markers, I think. At least I want to say so, because the marker itself, like just one, you can get so many different ranges out of that. I mean, not so many, but it's like you can get, I want to say I layer it up at least to 3 times. Also, so sorry that like some parts end up being out of focus for a little bit. I'm trying a newer method where instead of filming and like just turning my autofocus off and trying to mess with manual focus, I noticed there's a button that I can hit where it'll just keep whatever the focus is whenever it starts. It'll just keep it consistently throughout the entire filming part, but my issue is sometimes I forget to hit that button whenever I start my camera to record again, so I'm just like, oh. But yeah, one marker, you can get a couple of different shades with just that by layering, and that's what more or less alcohol markers are made for. It really helps to layer them because it just creates like a nice look to it. And even if you don't really want to go for that rendered style, by simply just creating like multiple washes, if you will, of the same color, I feel like it can really look nice. This little chibi head at the bottom was kind of funny to draw because I don't really know why I drew it. I guess because like I wanted to fit something in the composition without it just looking weird. And I probably felt like, if I add another bust up, it might not fit conveniently. So I'm gonna just add like this chibi head of this random character I've never drawn before. They turned out cute though. I will say it's not often that I have a character with like full-on red hair. I don't know why, but I noticed like amongst my OCs, it's not something pretty common. I usually go for like pink or like a hot pink, never just like fiery red. So I don't know, I might have to like incorporate that, make some room. And the character above too, I was trying to figure out like color wise and outfit wise, it reminded me so much of something, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, I feel like I'm plagiarizing. Like something about this, like this color scheme, this outfit, I don't know what it is. And the only thing I could really think of off the top of my head was either Starfire from Teen Titans or that one pink chick from Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi. That's, I don't know. And it's not like it's a direct copy of either of those. So it's not like it's that serious. Honestly, I feel like people often will draw characters that look similar to characters that already exist because that's kind of just how our brains work as human beings. We just tend to recreate things based off of what we're inspired by, but it's our own creation, and that's okay, you know? I feel like there's a lot of heat around that concept of like, oh, my character looks like someone else, but no one say that they look like someone else or I'll be upset. It's like, I can see both sides, I guess. Yes, it's important that people recognize that you put your own thought into creating your own character, depending on how much you actually did that, I guess. Because I don't know, I feel like there might be some people out there that are like, you know, this canon character that is very well known, I could just like change one thing about them and then that's my OC. And I can't say anything against that because it's like, I'm not the OC police, you can do whatever you please. It's just at the same time, you couldn't really be that surprised if people were like, hey, they kind of remind me of so-and-so. You know, just a thought, just an observation. But I feel like oftentimes whenever people say that, oh, your character reminds me of blah blah blah, it's not like a dig at you or your character. It's more like people just naturally want to find something that they can relate to, I guess. That would be my guess, you know? So it's kind of just like a you know, cool, nice. Anyways, keep creating OCs, keep vibing, I love that for y'all. I clearly haven't stopped as again, spreads like this where I'm like, this character looks cool, maybe they should become an OC. And that's why I end up having like 5 million characters for no reason. I really do want to make a video one day about like how many official OCs I actually have, so we can just talk about them and have a nice chill time. And this is the part where we get into not necessarily touching up, because as you can see to the right, I still haven't finished coloring that person, so I don't know what I'm doing. I think I just kind of got lost in the moment and I was like, you know what, let me just play around a little bit with the colored pencils, because I just really wanted to, I guess, bring this character to life a little bit more with the colored pencils. And that is something that I initially do whenever I'm done with alcohol markers. I feel like colored pencils are kind of my #1 go-to to pair with alcohol markers, because it's like a subtle push, you know? It's not like super jarring, it's just like a subtle push, like, oh, we have a little, you know, touch up here and there, and it looks nice, it looks like fun, I guess. You can say it might even look a little juvenile or like childish, I guess, but not like childish in the bad way, more of like free-spirited, you know? There we go, we're finessing that. I don't know if it's because I don't fully really understand how to use colored pencils on multiple levels, but mine just have that fuzzy colored pencil texture on them, because at least for the outlines and stuff, since I like to use it to accent line art or add a form of line art that's a lot more subtle and stuff, it gets like that fuzzy texture to it. I'm assuming because I'm pushing down, because I know if you like lightly go across stuff, it's like more subtle, just because that's how pencils work in general. But I don't know, I like both. Like, even though I never learned like the professional official way to use colored pencils, I will say like the way that I use them works nice enough for me. I might have like a couple things I could touch up on, but for the most part I still enjoy using them, and I think that I can use them well enough to get the look that I want across. And I also thought it was interesting, sort of like the way that I did the highlight, where I left in the space but I colored it in with colored pencil. I don't know, I might try that again in the future, but my main goal for that was to like, as opposed to trying to fill it in with marker, maybe the colored pencil, it having texture on the highlight adds a little bit more oomph, a little bit more interest, a little bit more style. And for this next character, I just point at a part in my throwaway sketchbook of like a little spread I did, because I was like, oh, I want to recreate this character again, or like redraw them. It essentially started whenever I saw a picture on Instagram of like this dress type thing. It's like a dress costume. I don't know. It's like, you know how they always have those like magical girl-esque looking clothes that you can find on Pinterest? Well, that's what it was, and it was like a picture of someone from behind, but you couldn't really, like, the emphasis was more on the dress, and so I was like, I want to draw this on a character, not sure who. And so again, kind of just making up characters from the spot. I do have an OC that I could probably like have made fit this drawing, but I would have had to change her hair color because her hair color is like green. But I do enjoy how this drawing came out as well. I think this one I was kind of just like winging it, which it was nice, you know. I'm glad that this spread I played a little bit more with just kind of going with my gut. I mean, I did do some gesture studies a little bit more in this past month, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if I don't do it for like a couple of days, I'm already out of the loop again. Even though that's not true, because, you know, any progress helps. It's just for me, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm rusty. Oh no, it's only been like 2 days and I'm rusty. But it definitely shows that the gesture studies help because they just get your mind working a little bit more on general poses, or like just not being afraid to draw a pose, because sometimes I'm like, I have no idea what this is gonna look like, and so I just don't even go for it, where it's like, realistically, if I stop to think about it a little bit more, I could be like, no, I think I could generally figure out how this looks like. And so you just start like mapping out the way the arms move, the way the legs move, the way, you know, your body faces or sits depending on what pose you're in, that kind of stuff. And then worst case scenario, if you still can't get it, you can always look up a reference or take a photo. Not entirely sure what to talk about at this point because, again, I don't really want to go into like all the, oh, this is how I use my alcohol markers, because one, you're already seeing it in progress. Like, it's not like I'm doing any witchcraft. I'm kind of just coloring the spread. Even if I use different brands or different like markers, basically, it's still the same process more or less. You know, I leave areas open where I want it to be lighter, I try to color quickly, and I layer. That's basically alcohol markers. I don't really know, like, again, every medium has like their special tips and techniques you can try, of course, but for the most part, alcohol markers are pretty straightforward, and maybe that's why I like using them so much as a medium. It's because like you can just pick them up and start creating a drawing. Like, there's no, it's not really that serious. You can take them on the go with you places. There's no like high maintenance for them or cleanup afterwards. You just put the cap back on and you can put it back wherever you have it stored. But yeah, it's pretty simple, and the way that the colors blend together is always so lovely. Even if you're using different brands, I feel like you can still have colors blend together nicely across the different brands. And yeah, there's so many options for where you can get alcohol markers, and yet they all generally work pretty nicely, I'd say. Yeah, I don't know, I love markers. I do still want to get back to watercolor and stuff because I have several different sets that I am absolutely enthralled with, or just like enthralled with the idea of opening them, because I want to have my first impressions like for you guys on camera about like how I enjoy the watercolors, how they work. I'm definitely not like an expert in watercolors, so I'm not sure how much my opinion would like matter to anyone, but it's just, I don't know, I just think it's fun to like watch people try out new supplies. So I like trying out new supplies too, and so hopefully y'all watching that is like a chill time, because I don't know, I think it's so fun. There's so many different things you can create with just the smallest addition of a new art supply. So yeah, off the top of my head, there are 2 watercolor brands that I would love to do a video on and show, and I keep buying these water brushes because I've just been more and more obsessed with them. So that's another thing that I'd like to highlight, and I think that those 2 go together very nicely. So we'll see. I know I said something about leaving a gap, because now it's about like almost the 30-minute mark, so I'm just like, can I do that and then just like come back? I guess I could. Would y'all mind? Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'll go ahead and pop back in whenever we're like getting more towards the end, about like 4 or 5 minutes before I do my little outro. And yeah, I think that'll be fun because that's whenever I start like touching up things and like putting the final touches on this spread. But yes, stay tuned and enjoy your silence. Maybe you can draw along or just like calmly watch, but okay. If you stuck around, do let me know. Do you have a favorite magical girl anime? And if so, what is it? Because I like several. I think the very first one that I watched was Tokyo Mew Mew, and that's probably how I got obsessed with cat girls. But I think my favorite, off the top of my head, my top two favorites would either be Cardcaptor Sakura or Madoka Magica. Even though they're two very different vibes, they're still themed as magical girl. But yeah, I like both of those a lot. Ooh, I also like Shugo Kera. I think it's very cute, and I was really obsessed with it whenever I was younger. Even now, I think I recently rewatched it maybe a couple months back, and I was like, yep, this was iconic. Even now, growing older, like being in my 20s, I still feel like there's a lot from magical girl like aesthetic and stories that apply to real life that are really important. So it's definitely not like a, oh, this is just for kids type of thing. There's many lessons to be learned. And you may have been able to tell based off of my own branding and aesthetic, or what small amount of it you can really notice. I do like to incorporate like that aesthetic into my own branding because I feel like it's a major part of who I am. And yeah, I don't know, something about that's kind of sweet. There's definitely some projects that I'd like to do that are like magical girl related in the future, like creating my own set of like the Clo cards or animating my own like magical girl transformation sequence. I don't know. It's like silly things that some people might see it as, but I don't know, I find it like a fun dreamy thing that I would love to indulge in for my own sake someday. I felt like that foot placement was weird, but then I also felt like the way that those feet look in general just look weird. Like it's supposed to be like a heel from behind. I don't like drawing feet from behind. It always feels like they just look like little nubs, and so it doesn't really make sense. Anyways, little touch-ups that I'm doing on this sort of like ballerina-esque character. It's giving like ballerina Sailor Moon, you know what I mean? That's the energy that I'm getting here. And then I also added like this, I believe it's from Kuretake, those like metallics that they have, the individual metallic paints that you can get. I think I got it in like this shimmery blue, and I was like, I have to add this here. And I will say it might have went better if I added like some kind of like either marker or watercolor or just something placed down first that was already like a pigmented blue, and then just kind of glaze this on top. I feel like it would have made it like I wouldn't have had to go over it in so many coats, and it would have just like been natural. But that shimmery watercolor is so beautiful. Definitely not the last time you're gonna see me use it either, because I don't know, it's so pretty. I gotta find other ways, other reasons to use it. One thing that inspired me to do this type of video is because I did a YouTube Shorts of a similar spread, but I didn't film the entire process, and I actually really liked how that spread came out. It was just like my OCs, but I was like, I don't know, it had like this pastel cute aesthetic to it, and so I just really liked how that turned out. But I was like, dang, too bad I had a good drawing session whenever I wasn't filming, which happens all the time because of course. But hopefully this spread turned out like somewhat cute to you guys, and that it showed a little bit of my process whenever I put together a spread of alcohol markers. Again, it's kind of my primary drawing utensil or coloring utensil, so I mean, this is more or less what I do on a spread whenever I want to like add color to it, add life to it. I definitely want to continue playing with all the different ways that I can combine alcohol markers with other mediums. Paint markers being one of them. I think that would be really cool, just because I love to use paint markers as like a backup for like if something needs to be corrected. I don't mind if it's like an accessory, because paint markers have like this nice opaque look to it, and I don't know, it can be really nice. Now I'm just going in with my white gel pen. I believe it's a Uniball Signo. I love that little thing. I do have like multiple options for going in with like white for highlights, but I do feel like this one works pretty nicely. And yeah, just touching up little things. I don't always add highlights whenever I do traditional art, or I don't always use like the white gel pen to add highlights, but I do think it can make a fun, sparkly touch to it. May have added too many stars, but that's okay. We're about to wrap up, but I just wanted to say how fun it is to decorate your spreads. You know, I don't know, everyone has their own style, of course, but I do recommend at least once just kind of like playing with different elements and all of that. So like how I bring in these stickers here. You don't have to add in stickers if you don't want to. You can always like draw in the elements as well. I just feel like it adds a little bit more to the spread and makes it more like exciting to look at. Putting on decorative elements is like the icing on the cake, so definitely go for it if you've never tried it before. I think that's all I gotta say for now. To be honest, my brain's kind of short-circuiting, so maybe it is best that I just go and leave whatever I didn't finish unfinished, and we can always pick back up next time. If you were drawing along to this, feel free to let me know what you drew, or you could answer, if you were a magical girl, what do you feel like your color scheme would be? Because I feel like that's an important question. Okay, now I gotta finish this video and go pack. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed your time here today, please feel free to leave a like. If you're interested to see more of my content, you can always check out my other videos and subscribe. For reference, if you're new, I am Rhea, or Etheria, and I like making art and art-related content on my channel. While I do tend to post weekly videos, if you'd like more timely updates, you can always check out my other social media linked in the description or also at the end of the video. Who knows, I might post my New York adventures to Instagram stories, but until next time, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I wish you a nice rest of your day and or week. Take care.